And welcome to the show. I have got Dudley Dawson here today. We're going to talk a little bit of baseball and a little bit of softball here with the Razorback Baseball Report with Dudley Dawson here on Hogville Net YouTube Live. Dudley, man, how you doing today?
Doing good. Happy to be covering baseball and softball this weekend here at home. So should be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. You got Tennessee in town with softball. You've got A&M in town also with baseball, and baseball team kind of busted out of a little bit of a 4-game slump last night.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna maybe look back at the end of the season on Hunter Grimes' throw. When that ball went into left field, he did a real good job of circling and getting behind it, but I didn't think there was any way that they were going to be able to throw the guy out. And I thought that was such a momentum changer. Obviously, Caleb Callaway walks, and then Chase lifted one out, and then the momentum swung back that way. But if you had lost 5 in a row, and you had pitched Hagen Smith on Thursday night this time, you were really going to be struggling, I think, the rest of the weekend, especially because you were going to get in your own way. And dropping a 5-0 lead would have been tough. So I think, what a play by that young man, and a guy who's not really a normal outfielder, has just played that position sparingly. But you have to have the next man up mentality now, truly, with all the injuries Arkansas suffered.
Yeah, most definitely. You saw Hunter Grimes come up with that ball and throw a beeline straight to home plate, and you weren't sure if Parker Rowland was going to be able to get that tag across on that on the hip there on the left side, but just in time before the Aggie player got across home plate there.
Yeah, and Coach Van Horn pointed out that Parker Rowland has played some first base, and he's had the quick tags on people diving back into first base during his career. That certainly was what that looked like last night. I think everybody immediately turned, in the press box, and I'm sure they did, those watching at home on TV, to see if he really had got him. And it turned out, I mean, that was one of the quicker reviews we've had all season. I'll give Coach Jim Schlossnagle, a lot of credit. He wasn't happy with his team not getting any runs in those last 2 jams and situations, but he gave credit where credit was due to Hunter.
Most definitely. And quick comment from John Evers, wishing everybody a happy Friday. John, appreciate that, man. Thank you much. So, looking at tonight, and Phil Elson came out with it a little bit ago, and I know that you had put some stuff out there too. We're looking at Brady Tiger taking the bump tonight. How important is that for him to maybe not have? We're probably going to see him maybe 2 innings. He's probably going to be on a pitch count within those 2 innings. But how important is it to see him kind of get back to a form where he's efficient?
Yeah, this is basically his spring training again. He made 4 appearances before he hurt the UCL. Has been out since March the 1st. He's going to act in basically the opener role that the Tampa Bay Rays, I still call them the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, I guess, has made popular. You want to get him out there. He threw 20 pitches in a bullpen last weekend. They decided to hold him 1 more week. So, I like you said, 2, if he's efficient, maybe go 3, and then you'll start rolling the other people in there. It doesn't sound like Dylan Carter may pitch, anymore this weekend because he has a sore arm, and obviously, he's got to get healthy as well. But you have Gage Woods, you have, several other guys. I think we'll see Christian Fouch, again, Ben Bybee. They're going to roll it out there. What's interesting in talking to Coach Schlossnagle last night, it seems like other than, just a couple of pitching staffs, everybody in the SEC, this is a year when they don't have 3 guys that have consistently started on the weekend. I was joking with him that TBA should be Arkansas's nominee for the player of the week 1 week, because that guy goes out and pitches 2 times every weekend. And he's most of the time has gotten it done. I think a big bounce back win last night. Really important to go ahead and win the series. And that's the one thing about Texas A&M. They kind of came out of the gate a little slow, but have won 4 straight league series. And now, this is a big game tonight. And I assume, the weather dudes were saying earlier it's going to rain and all that. And now it's going to rain Saturday morning or whatever. So, I'll drive toward the ballpark and as long as the lights are on, I'll go on in. So.
Most definitely. I saw a tweet from Mason Choate. He said that it was the greatest. I think how do you put that? It was the greatest lineup or matchup over the weekend that he's ever seen from Arkansas or from an Arkansas standpoint. From everybody was TBD, and I think that if you look at the end of the season, you could really kind of label that in this entire season to be a TBD.
Yeah, and the injuries that happened early with Cody Frank. I got to make sure I get my Codys right. Cody Frank, and obviously Brady Tiger, and of course Jackson Wiggins to start out the year. Those are 3 of your guys that you were counting on for a lot of innings. I know that in Auburn's coach was mentioning the other day that his projected 3 starters should only pitch 5 innings in SEC play. So injuries have happened all over the place. Coach Schlossnagle talked last night about how both Arkansas had used obviously a couple of their main guys last night. He went six guys last night pitching, several for just one, situational things. Those didn't turn out well, but now he's going to have to bring some guys that he didn't want to, but that's been, consistent with what they've done all year. And he made a very good point. They got down 5-0. He said, really, that's nothing new. That their pitching has put them behind there, but their offense has always been able to catch up. And then obviously they had situations, and you got to give credit to Arkansas's defense, Hagan for getting out of those situations. This 14 walks, man. 6 by the starter, 14 walks, but Arkansas left 15. So it was kind of like, here's your opportunity, and you were like, we'll be okay here. We'll wait for the 2-strike grand slam, from Peyton Stovall, who luckily didn't walk on that one pitch that they called a strike because he got back in there and obviously delivered a big hit. I know this has not been the season that Peyton wants. But he's, that's what he did last year. He came along at the end of the year. He's hit 261, I think 6 home runs, 30 RBIs now. Maybe that hit will get him going. We'll, as this team tries to get back healthy.
You're speaking of health for just a second. And, Tavian Josenberger and Jared Wagner's injuries, you kind of look like they're kind of in a race, like a snail race on who can get healthier the fastest, because you have the hairline fracture with Wagner and the thumb. I almost personally would trust bringing him back because you're able to see a tangible difference from when the break happened to where you are now, bringing him back into the fold versus maybe with Josenberger with those soft tissue injuries. Those are super iffy because you've seen it in basketball, you've seen it in baseball, football. Those soft tissue injuries, they always seem to linger, and all it takes is one wrong move, and you got to tweak versus a bone break that is going to hold up a lot better with pressure.
Yeah, I know they hope to have them both back as they go into that final series in Nashville against Vanderbilt, which is a Thursday through Saturday series. But I know they won't rush them back. I don't think, and I may be wrong. We'll see. But I don't think they'll rush them back because they realize they're going to be in the tournament. The questions left are they going to be a regional host, which I still think have an excellent chance to be, and should be able to do that. The national seed, we'll have to see now. It's that's going to be based on how they finish. I think they were projected as one for most of the season, but the trip to Georgia, kind of put a damper on that a little bit. They're going to have to work their way back in. But again, I get a kick out of Arkansas loses 3 games. The first time they've been swept since 2017, and Dave Van Horn no longer knows baseball. It's past his time. He can't reach the kids, all that. he's done an amazing job over the years with jigsaw puzzles and putting them in the right spot. Kevin Kopps was not Kevin Kopps before that year. Hagen Smith, when he moved him to the bullpen and said he was going to pitch him Friday in conjunction with Hunter Holland. My first thought was, a dude without street cred wouldn't do that. And, he knows what he's doing, and it's turned out, I think, to be the best where they're at. 12 and 7 now. And he threw 70 pitches last night. So, when he does that, he's hasn't come back this weekend, but he hasn't come back on a weekend, but it was very important, just tremendously important to get that first one. And like I was saying with Hunter Grimes' throw, with Jace's home run, and Parker Rowland's tag, throw that in there as well. You had to win that ball game once you put Hagen in, because if you're down 0-1 and you've lost 5 in a row and you've used Hagen, Brady Tiger could come out and throw 21 strikes in a row, and you still would be worried about the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, with Hagen going to the pen, and tonight Brady coming out, you kind of look at it as Dave's going to possibly approach this game in a reverse order, where you have your closer really coming in that first and second inning, and then you're going to have your starter coming in about the 4th or 5th inning and closing the rest of the game out, which that's like you said, he's had to jigsaw puzzle this thing together. And that's where Dave, like you said, he thrives the most. And the street cred that he doesn't get when things start to kind of fall a little bit, it always amazes me that they don't trust him as much as he probably should deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. He's only been to a ton of College World Series. Yes, they haven't won one, but they've got awfully close. There's a lot of people around who would like to have been in their position. What's going to be interesting to me, and from a baseball perspective, I can see Tigert going back to that closer role, which they wanted him at the first of the year, as he continues to build up his pitches. And if he can do that, then I think you transition Hagen Smith to probably being your number one starter. Mm-hmm. Then having, a situation where you have Hunter Holland, who did not have his best outing last night, as your number 2 guy, and then you figure out number 3 as you go along the way. So you don't have one TBDs or TPAs as you go along the way. But you've also got Gage Wood, who has pitched well in relief as well. So you could have, in effect, dual closers for situations. But it's going to be interesting to see how him and Coach Matt Hobbs, the pitching coach, figure it out, as they had most of the time. I think the beginning thing was that you could pitch Hagen Smith twice a weekend. But going out and pitching 50 and 70 pitches in that first game has kind of, messed up that idea. So,
yep. So we're going to shift gears here for just a second. We got Dudley Dawson here with the Razorback Baseball Report. And we're going to switch gears to softball. And also, if you do have any comments, throw them up there. We'll put them on there, and we'll talk about those too. So you have the third-ranked Tennessee Volunteers coming to town to Bogle, starting tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. And Coach Deifel, she was on the Zoom this afternoon, and she talked about some of Tennessee's struggles at the first of the season and against Baylor in particular, where that team kind of found themselves a little bit and then got some momentum and kept rolling through the season. Arkansas's got a little bit of a tall task against on their plate this weekend.
Yeah, and just a correction there, it's at 4 p.m. tomorrow.
4 p.m., yes.
Yeah.
It's on Monday.
We're used to those 6 p.m. games, but 4 p.m. tomorrow. Tennessee 13-2, certainly has proven themselves to be the best team in the league. Coach Deifel, talked that she thought that would, be the case, that they would be a very good team this year with who they had coming back and who they got through the transfer portal. It's going to be a big weekend. I expect some big crowds as long as the rain holds off, or at least doesn't occur during the game. but it is, it's a big series for them. They are tied for third. Arkansas is tied for third, can improve its position. And there's only, one weekend after this left before the SEC tournament comes to Fayetteville. So you're kind of, playing for position right now. And it would especially, I think, would help you out if you could win the series, for your mindset when you go into the SEC tournament, being able to know that you could beat anybody there. And certainly they have played everybody pretty well. You could say Georgia, they got that last game from Georgia, but I think that's going to be fun having the SEC tournament here, and I'm looking forward to being at that. I know you'll be there as well, but it is the thing I know is that Shanice Delsey, as long as she's there, Arkansas's got a great chance to win the tournament. She's an unbelievable athlete, continues to just throw a high number of pitches. And although the rest of the staff has come along, but there hadn't been this much excitement about Reagan's since 1980. Reagan's Johnson, Reagan's Kramer, are two young ladies that really make that offense go at the top. And then Ryland Hitchcock, what can you say about her? I think she's tied for the NCAA league with 19 home runs. And just as Coach Deifel was saying this morning, they're finding ways to win even when they don't have their best situations. Sometimes it's very frustrating for her because they wait till the end and score 6 runs or that. But it should be a lot of fun. I know there's a whiteout this weekend, I guess, on the Saturday game. So I'll have to figure out what color to wear besides white.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, and you're talking about Reagan Johnson for just a second. She was nominated as one of the top 25 freshmen in the country. You got a story about that?
Yeah, and it's she's been phenomenal. Obviously, leads the team in hits, has not been thrown out. Stolen base wise, she turns singles into doubles, she turns doubles into triples, and she scores. Runs on plays that makes the defense nervous. I guess we'll say if she's over there, her speed makes the defense nervous. Sometimes they rush throws and don't go follow through. So she's been a phenomenal get at the top of the lineup. And then Kramer has gone from being a last year's pinch runner to just a force there in the 2-hole. And then that they've set it up for the power hitters, the strength of the lineup, however you want to put it, to come through, and they have most of the time.
Mm-hmm. So with this lineup that Courtney Deifel has this season, and some of the inconsistencies and some of the moments where she wants to pull her hair out, you look at last season, for instance, the plethora of senior red shirts and graduates that left the program, and now this year they're only celebrating 4 that are leaving the program. That really speaks volumes to what she's done to this lineup 1 through 9, trying to develop some chemistry and cohesiveness from top to bottom.
Yeah, and she's had a couple of changes since the start of the year. Obviously, they were going to catch Hannah Gamble to start the year. She's been back at third base, and and her sister Lauren have formed a good battery there at times. I think that this moving around some different positions and all that as they've gone throughout the year has really helped them defensively as well. And I think that's key. Arkansas was not going to score as many runs, have as much power as it did last year, but they have certainly come through at the right times. And it's been, pretty much it's been 1 through 9 that you're getting contributions from. It seems like somebody, every other game in the middle of that lineup is going yard or driving in runs. So it's been fun to watch. I think that you talked about the 4 seniors. What's interesting is they've got 4 signees, and all of them are just fantastic players, including Casey Wood from here in Bentonville, whose dad, Jeff, is a longtime friend of mine. I know he's excited about watching her play in a Razorback uniform next year, and they're trying to win another state championship for Bentonville. but just a great recruiting class as well, even though it's a small one. But if you don't have many people leaving, you don't bring people in unless you're a basketball coach here.
Yeah, then at that point, or a football coach in Colorado, that seems to be the case as well.
Yeah, and you go back and I like Deion. Obviously, he was a Cowboy one time, and he certainly made his statement about how he was going to do things, and that's happened. When you go 1-11, I think you can come in and get some stuff. If he had come in, if they'd gone 7-4 about that, you can't do that. But he goes about he's got a nickname for a reason. Jordan Dominic, they played here at Arkansas last year. Was one of the guys up there. Arkansas has offered a couple of the guys that have, according to Elvis Kirk, has offered a couple of guys that, were at Colorado. There's still 7, I think, scholarships open here. So there's still going to be plenty of portal additions here.
Yeah, definitely. Because they may not have been the most talented on 1-11 team, but at the same time, if they have some talent, Sam Pittman's going to go out there and he's going to find them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we also, he's made it clear that yes, he's looking for starters, yes, he's looking for impact players, but he's got to look for depth too, at different positions. So because there were situations last year where they had injuries and they just did not have good enough people backing them up. As I've said for a long time, 1-22, they can play with some people. 23 to 40, 44, it's getting kind of tough, and then from that point on, you just weren't where you needed to be in terms of talent and depth. So
we're going to kind of switch gears off of baseball and softball for just a second, because the NFL draft was last night in the first round, and I'm a huge Cowboy fan too. I was kind of indoctrinated during that time where if the Cowboys weren't on, you didn't have anything else on TV. Even if the Chiefs were playing, sometimes it was just the Cowboys and an infomercial. What do you?
I know about the pick from last night. He's, I've watched him play at Michigan. He's a great run stopper. There's a lot of. What's interesting is one outlet I saw gave the Cowboys an A because that was a need, and they thought that guy could fill it as a run stopper. The other one gave him a C+. Here's what I'll say. Now I may get in trouble for this, but I'm going to say that not every Jerry Jones draft pick has been great. Not every Stephen Jones draft pick has been great. Mm-hmm. But every Will McClay draft pick who's kind of taken over the draft for them has turned out pretty well, except for Taco Charlton.
Yep.
And, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was sitting there hoping they'd take baby Gronk, Michael Mayer last night, since Dalton Kincaid had already been taken. Mm-hmm. Didn't work out that way. I immediately went and looked at the depth of the tight ends. I think they'll be able to get a tight end in the second round, unless there's like 3 offensive linemen that would start at left guard for them if they could, if they fall to 58. I think they'll take that and then get the tight end in the third round. But yeah, the sexy pick would have been Michael Mayer. But I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And the benefit of the doubt goes to Will McClay.
And I kind of scratched my head for a second because you had a guy like Nolan Smith that was on the board too, mm-hmm. that could have played a perfect complement to Micah Parsons. And you saw them pass and go into your defensive line. Do you feel like they're pretty comfortable at that linebacker position with him and Van Der Esch, and making sure that they're keeping everything at that second level, and they're just wanting to really kind of concentrate on that first level?
Well, in reading stuff, it looks like Damone Clark, the kid from LSU, is probably going to be the other starter at linebacker with Leighton Van Der Esch, and that Parsons is going to be on the play more on as an edge rusher than he has even the past couple of years. So that was probably a factor in the Nolan Smith and drafting Mays instead. I remember with my eyes that they couldn't stop anybody rushing at times. Certainly were better when they were getting after them pass-wise. But I didn't really, focus on it because I'm a tight end guy. Grew up in Newport, Arkansas. We ran 2 tight ends, and mine was been the third tight end because I was in the power I blocking for Billy Warren all the time. But I think that, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Certainly the young man, Tyler Smith from Tulsa last year, I had the same feelings about this. And he turned out to be so good. They're moving, the all pro to the other side of the line, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I do hope a tight end and comes into play and this next things. And, again, you got to take the best player possible at 58. And if that's an offensive lineman that you think can start at guard, I think they think there's 3 of them in the second round that they could get that can start at guard. Ironically, 2 of them from SEC schools. Then I think you go ahead and take them, and then we can all celebrate and say, hey, the Cowboys are going to win next year.
All right. Well, I got a couple of comments here. John Everett, he's been definitely chiming in here. He said, let's see here. It said NFL mock draft showing Sanders is going at the end of the second round.
Yeah, he's actually one of the guys. I think there are about 8 guys that I'm, from what I've been reading, that are on Dallas's draft chart in that second round. He's one of them, and he would certainly come in and would add some depth to those 2 guys that have already been there in linebacker. Of course, I'd love to see that. I thought he's a great man, great young man, I should say. I saw Coach Keaty's thing and popped up there, and great young man. He certainly, was a great player for them this year, and certainly I would be excited about that, because then Hogville would need to get press passes and go down there and do interviews and all that. And yes, Coach Keaty, who's like a second father to me, Bill Keaty, was indeed brilliant.
All right, so we're going to move on to first off, before I want to put you on the spot for just a second, Dudley. What was the last thing that you listened to, last music song you listened to on your phone?
Let's see. The last one on my phone was would be the Temptations.
Nice. I like that throwback, man.
Yeah, I'm an old soul who grew up closer to Memphis than I did Little Rock. And so I listen to a lot of R&B over there. So I still like that. I mean, I love 70s music and all that so much. In fact, my son, Brooks, makes a joke that I love the 70s so much that I went back and got my girlfriend from the 70s and married her. And that's Paige and I are about to celebrate 12 years of marriage here. So,
hey, congratulations on that. Definitely congratulations. Yeah, one of my favorites that I love to listen to actually is from the 70s also, Levon Helm. God, I love that guy. He was an incredible musician. I think he might have been a better storyteller than he was a musician personally, though.
Yeah, friends with his brother, Wheeler, who lives here in town.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I tell you, one of the things I always wanted to go do is I wanted to go see Levon live before he passed away. And I was in the Air Force at the time and wasn't able to get a chance to go do that, unfortunately. But man, I love listening to that guy. So
you're one of the great musicians from Arkansas that we've had. We've had plenty of them.
Most definitely. All right, let's move on to buy or sell. So first things first, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot too, sticking with the NFL for just a moment. Was the Lamar Jackson deal good for the NFL?
Yes. I mean, I think that I'd like to see players stay with teams. I'm excited for all the New York Jets fans that get to have Aaron Rodgers, play for them now, after the struggles they've gone through quarterback. But I do think for a couple of reasons, I like him being there. I like the loyalty. And number 2, the dude did it without an agent.
Yeah.
I like that. I got to be careful saying that because my son Brooks, the same one that I was talking about, he's a music agent now, but he was in the sports agent business as well.
Yeah.
So, but I got to give Lamar a lot of credit. So yeah, I think it was, and for a variety of reasons. So I will buy on that.
All right. So next, and Leslie Bynum, she actually also kind of alludes to my next buy or sell. So I'm going to bring it up first, and then I'm going to bring up her her comment on this. So, can the Celtics reach the finals?
Yes. They did it last year, and I think they've got a better team this year. I think Jason Tatum's rested more. I was a little worried about the way Trae Young was going off. I thought maybe he was going to try to take us down, but got home last night and was in the press box and trying to watch the draft and the baseball and the Celtics all at one time was kind of tough. So I came home and while finishing writing, I watched the Celtics and was really happy with the way they played down the stretch on, especially in a road game where they very easily could have, just went back for the seventh game in Boston. Now I worry that, I think the Milwaukee Bucks, the Celtics have played well against the Milwaukee Bucks. I would have been okay with facing them. The New York Knicks and the Miami Heat have both given Celtics a lot of trouble. They both own 3-1 things with them. So if you get to that round, you're going to have to match up and play better. Although Julius Randle's not healthy right now, but yes, it should be fun. The series with the Philadelphia 76ers that have some friends that are 76ers fan. There's been a lot of talk going on. We were 3-1 against them during the season, so I'm excited about it. Probably more excited that they're not having to play Saturday night when Patriot and I have tickets to see the Roots, the house band from Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show up at the military in Bentonville. So we're happy about that. Don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, and so I was really impressed last night, with Tatum and Brown both going for 30 plus, really. And that being in an elimination game, that really kind of speaks to some of the mental strength that these guys have developed over the last few years, like a Jordan and Isaiah Thomas and Kobe Bryant. And I'm naming some big names there, but those were guys that had to kind of go through the process of taking their lumps in the playoffs before they were really able to emerge.
Yeah, and I think, people have tried to break them up for several years now, but I think they're coexisting very well. Speaking of basketball, just got a notification that Ron Holland, the young man from Texas who chose Texas over Arkansas, has asked for his release from Texas, and now he's not really in the transfer portal, I guess, but he's reopening his recruitment. We'll see, I guess. The Arkansas was certainly one of his finalists there, so
was
something to watch these next few days, I guess. I would guess that since he's now asked for his release, that Arkansas contacted him 2 minutes ago. So
No, I'm sure that Coach Muss was on that, and
he's only one of the top 3 players in the country. So and he would be a one and done for sure. But while there's some fans that maybe don't want one and dones anymore, I'm telling you, you need them.
I'm pretty sure he might be able to find a spot to fit in. I'm sure that Muss might be able to find some room on the end of the bench, but also make sure to jump in and check out Kevin McPherson too, because he'll have all of that coverage live and breaking also as it develops too. So make sure to check him out as well too.
Yeah, and he's following a couple of Arkansas recruits this weekend that are playing an AAU tournament down in Texas. So yeah, he's doing a great job.
Definitely, most definitely. And can the St. Louis Cardinals make a wild card spot? I know.
The fact that this is the worst start for them in 50 years is mind-boggling to me. Yeah. The fact that I remember that season is even more mind-boggling to me.
You're not that old, Dudley.
Yeah, I'm about to turn 60. So, and I've been I made a statement to somebody the other day that Petra is obviously my greatest love, but baseball has been my longest love. And so, I've been a Cardinal fan, Cardinal, Celtics, Cowboys for since I came out of the womb, I guess. And I came out of the womb 5 weeks early, so was anxious to get here, I guess. But can the Cardinals make a wild card spot? Right now, I'd say no. Yesterday after they won the game, I would have probably said yes. But as I sit back and look at it, the Cardinals have 6 starting pitchers, but they don't have anybody. And Flaherty's pitched great, and from his last 2 times, he'll be playing. He'll be pitching tonight in LA. But the other ones have been inconsistent. Miles Michaelis finally got a quality start there yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just been it's just been not right. Now, do I think they can turn it around and make a run? Yes. Would I bet the house on it? Absolutely not.
I do want to add one quick little note too, also with on the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. So Caden Wallace right now he's playing for the Quad City River Bandits. He's having a pretty darn good season so far. He's batting .322. He's got a couple of home runs, 15 RBIs in 17 games. So with that being said, there's a possibility you might see have a Caden Wallace sighting up here in Springdale here in the next couple months.
Yeah, and that would be fun, and I'm sure the Naturals will, the Royals will do what's best for the Naturals. But if you want to get a spike in attendance, that would be one way to do it.
Real quick. Well, Dudley, man, I appreciate you coming on today, and we'll be doing this, like I said, each week. And make sure to check us out, all the stories from Dudley, Kevin, and Otis over at hogville.net. I'll also post all these videos and all content. Make sure to jump over at anytime over at hogville.net. For myself, Jason Patterson, Dudley Dawson, appreciate you guys jumping on with us today, and have a great one.